Hailing from the great cold state of Alaska, I am the Frozen Gamer, and today I want to talk to you guys about the Nintendo Switch Virtual Console and all the recent information that we heard from Nintendo. Now, for those of you who are more used to my normal way of doing things, normally I'm pretty calm and chill in the way I present my videos, but this one is going to be more of a rant. So just prepare yourself for that, and let's get started. Okay, so first of all, I want to just read to you guys specifically what it is that Nintendo said when they spoke to Kotaku regarding the status of the Virtual Console service. They said, and I quote, "There are currently no plans to bring classic games together under the Virtual Console banner as has been done on other Nintendo systems. There are a variety of ways in which classic games from Nintendo and other publishers are made available on Nintendo Switch, such as through Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch Online, Nintendo eShop, or as packaged collections." Okay, so this is why I feel the need to rant. I have read so many different people with the same exact stance. Well, not just read, but listened to people on YouTube and as well as read articles. A bunch of people basically saying, "This is the end of Virtual Console as we know it. We're never going to get Virtual Console on Switch. We're just going to get this rotating list of games from NES. And that's it." Okay, so that's stupid. First of all, you guys need to actually read what they said. Okay, they said that there are no plans to bring classic games to get together under the Virtual Console banner as has been done on other Nintendo systems. However, they also said there are a variety of ways in which classic games from Nintendo and other publishers are made available on Nintendo Switch, such as through Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch Online, that is their online service, Nintendo eShop, or as packaged collections. Now, so many people are running with this, they're just reading, they're taking like a snippet of that sentence and interpreting it to be Nintendo saying that Virtual Console is not coming in any way, shape, or form, that we're not getting anything like Virtual Console, when what Nintendo actually said is that we're just not getting something branded, something under the banner of Virtual Console. Now, why am I saying that this is more significant than people are making it out to be? It's because of the fact that Nintendo in no way actually said that there's nothing like Virtual Console coming. In fact, they even said that classic games are still going to come to the Switch in different forms. They just said that it's not going to be under the Virtual Console banner anymore. So basically, they could just rebrand it as something completely different and still release these classic games. This rotating list of games that we're getting as the Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch Online, is something that is specifically included with the online service. They'll probably do the same thing with Super Nintendo games later on. They'll have rotating lists of games for the online service. But even though they're not going to call it Virtual Console, they are going to do something similar to a Virtual Console. Mark my words. I guarantee you it's going to happen. And yes, I don't have any inside knowledge. But the fact of the matter is that I think Nintendo's being very deliberate in the way they're wording this. This isn't as simple as there is no Virtual Console or there is. It's that there's going to be something. They are going to release their classic games in multiple different ways. The reason why I believe this is true is, first of all, let's look at what it is that Nintendo's done since they started doing Virtual Console. Now, Virtual Console came out on the Wii. I believe it was back actually in somewhere between 2007 2009, somewhere around there. We first got Virtual Console on the Wii. But then when they went on to Wii U, they continued that Virtual Console line in much more of a drip feed fashion, started adding save states to it which weren't there on the Wii Virtual Console, and then they also, in addition to that, they eventually started adding the Wii games to the Wii U. Now, if you look at the Wii games on the Wii U, on the eShop, tell me what it says. Does it say Virtual Console? No, it doesn't. It doesn't say Virtual Console at all. The Wii games were not branded as Virtual Console. They were already trying to separate from that idea of Virtual Console. Now, I can't say for sure whether or not that's the case with DS games, as I didn't actually buy any DS games on Wii U Virtual Console, but the fact is that they were already starting to separate from that name. And the 3DS also got a bunch of Virtual Console titles, but even then, it was pretty clear that they were kind of trying to move away from that same thing, at least in my mind. And the other thing is that if you look at the Switch currently, we have the Arcade Archives. Now, someone pointed out to me, and I was originally wrong when I stated differently. I thought Arcade Archives was just a Nintendo thing, that was just them putting out their arcade games. Turns out that I'm wrong about that. The arcade games actually Arcade Archives have come to other consoles for a variety of different systems, including Neo Geo, which we also see on the Switch. But it's that there are games that are specifically Nintendo titles that are only on the Switch. So we have games like Punch-Out!, we have the original Mario Brothers arcade game, we have a Versus version of Super Mario Brothers. Those games, why would Nintendo take the time, or even allow someone else in this case, to put these games on the Switch eShop if they had no intention of doing anything else? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I realize, yes, Nintendo sometimes does things that don't make sense. I mean, there have been numerous examples where Nintendo has done things in the past that didn't really make sense to us as consumers. However, we've also seen a drastic change in their processes with the Switch. I mean, the fact that they're actually advertising this console, and they're advertising it well. They're appealing to adults over children for the most part. I mean, there's a reason why it is that the Switch sold 18 million in just over a year, compared with the Wii U selling 13.5 million in 4 years. The Switch is different. Nintendo is doing things differently, and there are still some things that boggle the mind. Don't get me wrong, I get it. Nintendo is not fully there yet. There are just some things that I can't quite understand. I mean, they're requiring us to still use the phone app for voice chat, although it does sound like they've made improvements to the phone app so that it's not as bad as it was when it initially launched. Because before it was, you had to have your phone on, you couldn't have it running in the background. If the screen was not on your phone, it would just take you out of chat completely. But now it's actually going to be usable in multiple forms. You don't just have to use it you can't just use it in certain games. You can use it, at least from the sounds of it, potentially anytime, if not anytime you're playing a game. Which, to me, in many ways, is basically very similar to party chat on PSN, except the fact that you don't have to be on the Switch in order to use it, which is kind of cool. It's a nice thing. Not as great as Discord, but it's kind of cool. It's a start. Whether or not they're going to do anything further with that, we don't know. But getting back to the topic at hand, back to Virtual Console. So, once again, Nintendo has only said that there is no plan to bring those classic games together under the Virtual Console banner, as was done on previous Nintendo systems. Nintendo's trying to get themselves as much away from the Wii as possible. They need to get away from that idea of who they were back in those days. And yes, obviously the Wii was successful. The Wii was a complete flop, and it was because they relied so heavily, at least it was in part because they relied so heavily on the Wii name. So now we have what is most likely going to be a new type of Virtual Console. Maybe they'll have something for each of the individual consoles, a different branding for each type, or maybe they'll just call it something different entirely. Maybe they'll do upgrades to it, like what they are doing with the NES games that they're putting into the Switch Online, where they're actually adding online play and that sort of thing. It's really hard to say exactly what it is that they have in mind, but I can guarantee you that there is no way that Virtual Console as a concept is dead. What is dead is the Virtual Console name, the banner, period. So now that I have gotten that out, which I could probably rant even longer about it, but I would just be repeating myself, I want to hear what you guys have to say. What do you think about this? Do you think that Virtual Console as a concept is truly dead, and that that's actually what they were saying? Do you think I'm just being too loose with my understanding of what they're saying, or do you agree with me? Do you think that it really is just Nintendo being deliberate in their wording? Something I do want to note real quick though before I close out here is that honestly, when it comes to Virtual Console, I've gotten to a point where I don't care too much if we get it or not. If we get it, great. I will probably buy some games. If we don't get it, it doesn't really matter too much to me, because at this point, I have so many games to play and nowhere near enough time to play them. I mean, I have probably at least 4 or 5 games on Switch that I own that I still haven't completed. And some of, I mean, like 1 or 2 that I've barely even started. So, for me, it's not a big deal. But if they do bring it, I would be happy, because there are definitely games, especially like Nintendo 64 and GameCube titles, that I would love to play on the Switch on the go. Even a few Super Nintendo games that I wouldn't mind having on the Switch. But in the end, it doesn't matter too much to me. I'm sick of people spreading misinformation because they're just not using any sort of reading comprehension. And I'm just going to call it good there, because otherwise I'm just going to keep ranting. So once again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Until next time, this has been the Frozen Gamer, and I'll talk to you later.